Hi friends, I am reading to you today from outside because it is so sunny and so nice. And because I'm outside, I'm going to wear my sunglasses, and I think it also makes me look cool. So here we go. Today we're going to be talking about conflict. We know that conflict also means problem. When we read stories, good readers pay attention to the conflict that a character is experiencing or the problem that they have. If we read stories and there was no conflict or no problem, it would be a boring story. There are two types of conflict that we've talked about. We talked about these when we read Rickshaw Girl, and we focused on Naima. Give me a me too if you remember. Internal conflict is a type of problem that's happening inside of the character. These are often their thoughts and their feelings. External conflict is outside of the character. This could be caused by nature, like when we read The Storm. The problem was the storm. Nature was causing the problem or the conflict. This could also be caused by another character. Maybe another character is causing problems for the main character. And it could also be caused by society. When we read Rickshaw Girl, and similarly when we read Malala, the external conflict that was caused by society was that the society that they lived in did not value girls as much as it valued boys. That caused a conflict for Naima and Malala. Today, as we're reading this story together, I want you to pay close attention to the types of conflict that are in our story and how the character is going to solve them. That's really important, especially for the skill that we're going to practice next week. Today, we're going to read The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. I'll read it and then I'll show you pictures. Can you see Brian, the invisible boy? Even Mrs. Carlotti has trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. There he is. Everyone else is in color and he's gray. Is he really invisible? No. Nathan has problems with what Miss Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his outside voice inside too much. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of space. Brian doesn't. When the bell rings for recess, Micah and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best players get picked first, then the best friends of the best players, then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left, still waiting and hoping. So Brian isn't really invisible, but he feels invisible. Paying attention to the character's thoughts and feelings can help us understand their conflict. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. We've got enough players for each team, he tells the others. Now let's play ball. You can tell from the pictures and from the story that Brian is feeling pretty excluded. He feels invisible. Can also tell that Brian is shy because he's not speaking up and telling the others that he really does want to play. In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. The rope swing over the pool was awesome, says JT. Yeah, so was the water slide, adds Fiona. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, says Madison. Everybody did, except Brian, because he wasn't invited. At choosing time, while the other kids play board games and read, Brian sits at his table doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons, scaling tall buildings, space aliens locked in intergalactic battles. greedy pirates digging for treasure, and superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. I think Brian is drawing superheroes that can make friends because he wants to make friends. He wants to be a part and be included. It's telling me more about that internal conflict that Brian has. Brian feels shy, but he also wants to make friends. That's Brian's internal conflict. On Monday morning, Mrs. Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student, to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't made up their minds yet. At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopstick. "What's that?" Madison asks as she points at Justin's food. "It's bulgogi." "Bul what?" "Bulgogi. It's Korean barbecued beef. My grandma made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some?" "There's no way I'd eat boogergi." And the kids laugh. All of them, that is, except Brian. He sits there wondering which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible. So now we've got a lot of more external conflict. The kids at the school are being mean not only to Brian, but to the new kid. The external conflict, which is outside of the character, is caused by other characters in the story. They're not being kind to Brian or the other kids. The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. "Justin, I thought your food looked good. Brian." At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing away. "You're Brian, right?" "Yeah. Thanks for the note." "Hey, Justin," Emilio calls from the tetherball court. "You're up next." "Sorry, I gotta go," says Justin. "By the way, that's a really cool drawing," he adds, before taking off. So we're starting to get to the point where we see that the main character, Brian, is trying to solve his problem. He's feeling lonely and he wants to make friends. So he wrote Justin, the new kid, a note saying that he thought his food looked good when the other kids were laughing at him. He's trying to make a friend. He's trying to solve his problem. Back in class, Mrs. Carlotti asks the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads toward Justin. "I'm already with Justin," says Emilio. "Find someone else." Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. "Mrs. Carlotti said we could have up to 3 people in our group, and we're only 2. Come on, Emilio, let him work with us." "Okay, I guess." So not only is our main character solving his problem by asking to be friends with Justin, Justin is also helping him solve the problem by reciprocating his friendship and wanting to be friends back. Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in that photograph. Use your imagination and have fun. "Whoa, cool," says Emilio. "What kind of people do you think would live in houses like that?" "I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story," says Justin. Brian smiles and he takes out his lucky pen. It's lunchtime again, Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. "Brian," he hears someone shout. "Hey, Brian, over here." Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods at Brian as he makes room for him at their table. maybe, just maybe, Brian is not so invisible after all. I like how throughout this story, Brian was in black and white, and as he started to make friends, he became in full color. The end. So as we read The Invisible Boy, we saw that Brian's internal conflict, the problem inside himself, his thoughts and feelings were that he was lonely. He wanted to make friends, but he was shy. The external problem, the things that were happening outside of him, were that the other kids in his class were mean. They were not letting him play with them. We paid attention carefully to how he solved his problem. When the new boy Justin came, Brian tried to reach out to Justin to make friends with him, and then Justin reciprocated that by being his friend back. This week, as you listen to and read stories, I want you to pay close attention to the conflict. I want you to pay close attention to the types of conflict that are in the story. Oftentimes when we read big third grade books, there's going to be more than one problem in your story. There's going to be multiple types of internal conflict and external conflict. Good readers pay attention to how a character solves the problem or how someone else or how the problem gets solved. All right, I can't wait to see all your hard work this week. If you have any questions, reach out to your teacher.